Did you know that you could be eligible for New York paid family leave even if you don't live in the state of New York, like my wife Jenica, who recently took leave with this program? Hey everyone, welcome back to Friends with Your Benefits. I'm your host, John Coleman. Today we're going to dive deep into the world of employee benefits with a specific focus on how the New York paid family leave program works. We are going to go over, number one, who is eligible for the program, number two, what the overall benefits are, and number three, how much it costs. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this. So first off, what is New York Paid Family Leave, or NYPFL for short? New York PFL is a state-mandated program for employees in the state of New York that provides a combination of job protection and paid leave for employees experiencing very specific life events. These life events include time to bond with a new child, care for a family member with a serious health condition, or deal with certain military-related events. It was ultimately introduced to support families during significant life events without the financial strain of taking unpaid leave. Now let's talk about the financial benefits. For 2025, the benefit is 67% of your average weekly earnings, with a maximum weekly benefit of $1,757 up to 12 weeks of paid leave. Let's talk about who's eligible for New York PFL. In general, if you work for a private employer, whether you're full-time or part-time, the good news is you're likely eligible for benefits, but there is a catch. If you're a full-time employee, you need to have worked for your employer for 26 weeks consecutively. If you're part-time, you need to have worked for your employer at least 175 days, but it doesn't necessarily have to be consecutive. The important thing to note is ultimately benefits are based on working in the state of New York, even if you don't necessarily live there. Now, as a quick aside, let's say you live in New York, but you happen to work in New Jersey. In that case, you may be eligible for New Jersey's sister program called New Jersey FLI. If you want additional information on how New Jersey FLI or New Jersey Paid Family Leave works, click on the link on the video in front of you. So that's the lowdown on who is eligible for New York PFL. If you want additional information to confirm for your specific situation if you are eligible, reach out to your Human Resources group, or alternatively, go to the New York Department of Labor website for additional information. So what does New York PFL actually cost? For 2025, the rate is 0.388% of an employee's average weekly earnings, with an annual maximum contribution of approximately $355. Note that typically this rate is paid for by the employee, not necessarily the employer. So John, how do you apply for New York PFL? So typically, if you're thinking about taking leave, it's always a best practice to reach out to your Human Resources group, as they can provide you with the forms that are needed in order to apply, and there's some documentation that you will need. So if you happen to be taking leave for care of a newborn child, it's likely that on part of the forms you'll need to put in the information on your baby's birth, and likely have the doctor fill out some information to confirm that you're ultimately eligible for benefits. And once all those forms are complete, you'll either need to provide them to Human Resources or your insurance provider in the state of New York. Note that in the state of New York, typically the insurance provider is the same insurance provider as the sister program, New York DBL, which we will talk about in just a minute. Now, John, how does this work with New York DBL, also known as the New York Disability Benefits Law? In general, New York DBL provides short-term disability for employees who have a non-work-related injury or illness, including pregnancy. So here's the key part. New York PFL and New York DBL cannot be taken together at the same time, but they can be taken consecutively. If they are taken consecutively, they can exceed 26 weeks in a 52-week period. Now that's the basics on how the New York PFL program works. So remember, if you're someone like my wife Jenica, even if you live in the state of New Jersey, but work in the state of New York, you're likely eligible for benefits. Now, we want to hear from you guys. Have you used the New York PFL program in the past? And if you did you get your benefits paid on time? Comment below.